Lynn opened his eyes to find himself floating in a boundless void of shimmering violet starlight. A massive neon blue holographic interface suddenly flickered into existence right in front of his face. The screen displayed a series of complex data fields indicating his current physical and spiritual attributes. His eyes widened in absolute horror as he saw a giant, flashing red 0 next to his cultivation score. A booming voice echoed through the cosmic expanse, announcing the activation of the legendary War God system. Golden energy tendrils rushed out from the screen and wrapped tightly around his thin wrists. Lynn gritted his teeth as a sudden surge of ancient immortal power flooded directly into his veins. He stood up slowly as a magnificent divine crest materialized on the back of his right hand. A notification chimed softly, revealing that he had just unlocked a unique, high-tier cheat skill. The scene instantly shifted to the massive, bustling Grand Plaza of the elite Jua Magic Academy. Wealthy nobles dressed in lavish silk robes openly laughed and pointed directly at Lynn's ragged attire. Lynn chose to ignore their cruel taunts and focused his gaze on the giant evaluation crystal ahead. A stern academy elder with a long white beard called out Lynn's name to step up to the altar. The whispering crowd parted ways, creating a wide path for the orphan boy to walk through. Lynn placed his right palm firmly onto the smooth, freezing cold surface of the testing stone. The crystal remained completely dead and dark, showing absolutely zero spiritual reaction to his touch. A loud wave of collective laughter erupted across the entire plaza at his pathetic performance. The elder sighed deeply and began to write down a failing mark on the official enrollment scroll. Suddenly, the internal War God system within Lynn initiated an automatic countermeasure protocols. Deep inside his soul, a massive dormant pool of celestial energy broke through its heavy seals. The dead testing crystal suddenly began to vibrate so violently that the entire mountain shook. The arrogant laughter died instantly as every student was forced onto their knees by immense pressure. A towering pillar of pure golden light shot directly from the crystal into the high heavens. The elder dropped his ink brush in utter disbelief as the crystal shattered into millions of tiny pieces. Lynn slowly pulled his hand back, watching the glittering dust swirl around his worn boots. High above the plaza, the academy principal watched the entire event unfold through a crystal ball. The elder quickly declared that Lynn had passed the examination with an unmeasurable anomaly score. A heavy iron enrollment token stamped with the Jua insignia materialized directly into Lynn's palm. Lynn gripped the token tightly, knowing his perilous journey through the cultivation world had finally begun. He walked past the silent, humbled nobles without granting them even a single glance. He soon arrived at the dormitory sector, located on a lower peak of the massive floating island. His assigned room was a small, dusty attic space filled with broken old furniture. Lynn sat down cross-legged on the hard wooden floor and summoned his system interface once more. The system immediately presented him with an urgent notification regarding an upcoming freshman quest. The text warned that failure to complete his upcoming daily tasks would result in severe attribute penalties. Lynn took a deep, steady breath and closed his eyes to begin his very first basic cultivation session. Deep beneath the academy grounds, a dark, malevolent shadow slowly began to stir from its ancient slumber. The ambient spiritual energy in the air suddenly turned cold, causing Lynn to open his eyes abruptly. A strange low-frequency growl vibrated through the floorboards, shaking the dust from the wooden ceiling. A sudden crimson warning message flashed violently across his system screen, indicating an imminent high-level threat. The crimson warning message pulsed aggressively against Lynn's retinas, filling the dim academy dormitory room with an ominous, blood-red glow. Sweat beaded upon his forehead as he stared at the flashing digital characters that detailed an imminent penalty for unfulfilled fundamental physical requirements. The system interface suddenly shifted, transforming the terrifying warning into a structured list of daily tasks designated as the path of the War God. Realizing that survival in this cutthroat spiritual world demanded immediate action, Lynn threw off his thin blanket and stood firmly on the cold stone floor. Hours later, under the pale starlight of the academy courtyard, Lynn pushed his physical limits by executing his 100th consecutive push-up. His muscles burned like molten iron, yet the system's relentless countdown timer forced him to sprint across the expansive training grounds without a moment of rest. With a satisfying chime, a radiant golden notification burst forth to announce the successful completion of his very first daily quest. A surge of warm, revitalizing spiritual energy immediately flooded his meridians, erasing his profound fatigue and permanently increasing his base strength attribute. For the next 2 consecutive weeks, Lynn repeated this grueling routine flawlessly, watching his status screen rise from a completely worthless 0 to that of a formidable novice cultivator. The bright morning sun eventually illuminated the grand arena of Jua Magic Academy, where hundreds of clad students gathered eagerly for the mandatory weekly sparring sessions. A tall elite student named Master Chen stepped onto the stone platform, his luxurious silk robes rustling as he cast a glance of utter disdain toward the ordinary disciples. The stern academy instructor called out Lin's name from a leather-bound ledger, officially designating him as Chen's opponent for the opening match of the day. Whispers and mocking laughter erupted throughout the spectator stands as the other students recalled Lin's infamous 0-point entrance score. Ignoring the cruel jeers of the crowd, Lynn walked down the stone steps with a composed demeanor, his hand resting lightly on the hilt of his iron-practiced sword. Chen drew a gleaming silver blade infused with elemental wind magic, sneering that a worthless orphan should simply kneel down and surrender immediately. A glowing blue system quest prompt suddenly manifested in Lin's field of vision, tasking him with defeating Chen to earn a rare skillbook reward. The referee's hand dropped to signal the start, and Chen instantly vanished from sight, leaving behind only a localized gust of wind on the stone platform. Before Lynn could fully react, Chen reappeared directly at his left flank, unleashing a vicious horizontal slash aimed squarely at his neck. Instincts forged from his relentless daily physical training kicked in, allowing Lynn to narrowly raise his iron sword to parry the deadly strike. The sheer elemental force of the wind magic sent a shockwave through Lin's arms, forcing his feet to slide backward across the cracked stone floor. Chen laughed maniacally at Lin's defensive posture, spinning his blade to conjure a barrage of razor-sharp wind blades that flew forward relentlessly. Lynn leaped desperately to the side, executing a series of rapid rolls as the wind blades sliced deep, clean fissures into the solid stone platform behind him. Realizing that pure defense would eventually lead to his defeat, Lynn activated the system's active combat appraisal feature to identify a weakness in Chen's stance. A glowing digital weakness marker illuminated Chen's right shoulder, revealing an opening left exposed whenever he initiated a heavy wind strike. Bracing his legs, Lynn channeled every single point of his newly accumulated spiritual energy into his lower body, launching himself forward like an arrow. Chen's eyes widened in sudden panic as he realized the supposedly weak orphan had closed the distance between them in a mere fraction of a second. Lynn swung his ordinary iron sword with tremendous force, aiming precisely for the exposed weakness in Chen's defensive martial stance. The heavy iron blade shattered Chen's superficial wind barrier with a resounding crack, striking his shoulder and sending him tumbling across the ground. Complete stunned silence fell over the entire Colosseum as the elite student struggled to stand, clutching his bruised shoulder in absolute disbelief. Consumed by intense humiliation and rage, Chen ignored the standard sparring rules and pulled a forbidden dark crimson talisman from his inner robe pocket. The forbidden talisman exploded into a column of dark, malevolent purple flames that instantly enveloped Chen's body, drastically mutating his aura. The academy instructor yelled out in panic for the match to abort, rushing forward to intervene before the demonic energy could contaminate the students. With a monstrous roar, the corrupted Chen swung his sword, unleashing a massive wave of dark purple fire that deflected the instructor away entirely. Lynn found himself completely isolated inside a dense barrier of demonic energy, with the crazed Chen lunging directly at him with lethal intent. The system interface flashed frantically in Lynn's mind, warning him that his current physical attributes were insufficient to survive a direct hit from this forbidden magic. Left with absolutely no other choice, Lynn mentally commanded the system to instantly claim the completion rewards from his previous daily quests. A heavy, ancient leather-bound skill book materialized directly into his mindscape, unlocking the powerful passive technique known as the Iron Body Shield. Just as Chen's corrupted blade made contact, a massive translucent golden shield erupted around Lynn, absorbing the dark impact with a deafening resonance. Seizing the moment of Chen's post-attack vulnerability, Lynn counterattacked with a flawless horizontal sweep, channeling his maximum physical power into the strike. The forceful strike connected heavily with Chen's torso, neutralizing the demonic aura and sending the elite student unconscious onto the ruined stone platform. The system immediately chimed to announce the successful completion of the hidden emergency quest, granting him a mysterious black key as an extra reward. Suddenly, the stone floor beneath Lynn's feet began to tremble violently as the black key in his hand resonated with a hidden underground chamber. The black heat pulsed with dark energy as the rumbling beneath Lynn's feet grew to a deafening roar. A holographic system alert suddenly flashed across his vision with a bright blue glow. The text detailed an emergency registration for the Academy's ultimate survival event known as the Battle for Freedom. Realizing this was his chance to gain immense experience points, Lynn forcefully clicked the acceptance prompt. Instantly, a vortex of blinding white light enveloped his body and pulled him into a spatial rift. Lynn landed softly on a massive floating island suspended high above an endless sea of clouds. Hundreds of elite Academy students stood scattered across the plain, exuding powerful spiritual auras. A tall cultivator wearing a luxurious crimson robe stepped forward and mocked Lynn's low cultivation level. Lynn simply smiled and ignored the insult while checking his newly updated quest parameters. A massive golden bell manifested in the sky and chimed loudly to signal the start of the contest. Chaos erupted immediately as students unleashed their elemental spells against one another. Lynn dashed through the battlefield like a ghost, dodging a barrage of icy projectiles with ease. 3 rival swordsmen surrounded him simultaneously, their blades gleaming with lethal intent. Drawing his divine sword, Lynn deflected all 3 incoming strikes with a single fluid motion. The War God system chimed repeatedly, rewarding him with experience points for every parry. The crimson-robed cultivator returned, unleashing a giant fiery serpent from his enchanted fan. Lynn stood his ground as the scorching heat of the flame monster rushed toward his face. He concentrated his spiritual energy into his blade and slashed downward to cleave the beast in 2. The red-robed cultivator stumbled backward in absolute disbelief as his ultimate spell was shattered. Suddenly, the entire floating island began to shake violently as a dark shadow covered the sun. A massive elite cultivator, known as the Iron Titan, descended from the sky like a meteor. The Titan crashed into the center of the arena, creating a massive crater and blowing everyone away. Lynn stabilized his footing and stared at this new opponent who possessed a peak cultivation level. The Iron Titan laughed deeply, boasting that no one in this academy could pierce his armor. The Titan swung a massive spiked mace directly at Lynn's head with crushing speed. The shockwave alone sent Lynn flying through the air, causing his health bar to drop slightly. Lynn flipped in midair and landed on a ruined pillar, refusing to back down from the challenge. A critical notification popped up, offering an emergency breakthrough quest to unlock an ancient skill. The requirement was to channel all his spiritual energy into a single focal point without moving. Seeing his target stationary, the Iron Titan charged forward like a wild bull, shattering pillars in his path. The remaining students watched in horror, thinking Lynn had given up and accepted his defeat. Lynn remained completely still as the Titanic warrior closed the distance between them within seconds. At the final microsecond, the system completion chime echoed inside his mind with brilliant clarity. He raised his right hand and pointed a single index finger toward the descending giant. An enormous ethereal finger composed of pure celestial starlight materialized in the heavens. This was the Divine Finger of Heaven technique, a legendary power capable of crushing mountains. The Iron Titan looked up and froze in terror as the massive divine pressure pinned him to the ground. With a deafening crash, the Finger of Heaven descended and completely shattered the Titan's unbreakable defense. The system immediately declared Lynn the absolute victor of the contest, rewarding him with massive loot. Suddenly, the sky turned a blood-red color as an ancient demonic portal ripped open right above Lynn's head. The blood-red demonic portal expanded rapidly above Lynn's head, tearing the very fabric of space apart with a deafening screech. Glistening crimson lightning bolts arced violently from the vortex, striking the broken ground around his boots. High elders from the Jewel Magic Academy gasped in horror as they felt the overwhelming demonic pressure crushing the protective barrier. Lynn tightened his grip on his divine sword, refusing to back down even an inch against the encroaching darkness. Suddenly, a radiant blue holographic screen materialized before his eyes, announcing an urgent emergency quest from the War God system. The system prompt commanded him to descend instantly into the mortal realm as an official divine messenger to halt a catastrophic event. With a sharp nod of acceptance, Lynn activated his newly unlocked spatial rift ability to bypass the demonic portal entirely. He leaped gracefully through the golden rim fissure, instantly leaving the crumbling spiritual realm behind him. Within seconds, the chaotic noise vanished, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves over a vast mortal landscape. However, the peace was fleeting as a dense, foul black smoke began rising from a hidden valley nearby. Lynn sped toward the source and discovered hundreds of dark cultists chanting around a massive, blood-soaked sacrificial altar. At the center of the altar, a grotesque demonic ceremony was reaching its peak to summon a high-tier overlord. Lynn knew he had to act immediately before the monster could fully anchor its physical form in this world. He unleashed the divine finger of heaven technique, projecting a colossal golden hand from the clouds above. The cultists screamed in absolute terror as the holy energy crushed their dark barrier like fragile glass. The half-summoned demonic overlord roared in agony as the divine finger slammed directly into its shifting torso. A system notification chimed loudly, granting Lynn an enormous boost of experience points for interrupting the dark ritual. With the cultists routed, the system instantly flashed a new waypoint leading to an enigmatic location known as Stone Island. He sprinted toward the coastline, moving so fast that his body turned into a blurry streak of light across the landscape. Far out at sea, Stone Island loomed like a jagged black tooth, surrounded by violent, unnatural whirlpools. Lynn channeled his spiritual chi into his feet, stepping directly onto the ocean surface without sinking a single inch. Giant stone statues along the island shore suddenly came to life, raising colossal obsidian clubs to smash the intruder. Lynn smiled faintly, recognizing these formidable guardians as merely another quest obstacle to overcome for his final advancement. He leaped high into the air, executing a flawless circular slash that unleashed a horizontal crescent wave of pure energy. The massive obsidian guardians were cleanly severed at the waist, exploding into harmless pebbles upon hitting the rocky beach. Lynn advanced unchallenged into the heart of the island, entering a majestic underground chamber glowing with ancient runes. Resting upon a central pedestal lay the core artifact keeping the barrier between the mortal and demonic worlds intact. The remaining essence of the demon god manifested as a shadowy apparition, coiling tightly around the crystal core. It hissed a curse at Lynn, vowing to shatter the core and plunge both realms into an eternity of absolute chaos. Lynn closed his eyes for a split second, gathering every single ounce of his accumulated war god system cultivation energy. The system interface flashed frantically, unlocking the ultimate hidden class skill, Eternal Sovereign Strike. He thrust his sword forward, channeling a beam of concentrated holy light that pierced clean through the shadow apparition. The phantom shrieked in absolute agony as its corrupted form dissolved into nothingness under the pure celestial power. The crystalline core stabilized instantly, glowing with a serene, flawless white light that cemented the planar boundaries forever. A giant golden screen materialized before Lynn, congratulating him on reaching the absolute maximum level of immortality. His long, arduous journey from a penniless orphan to the strongest immortal universe savior was finally complete. He walked slowly out of the cavern, stepping out onto the cliffs of Stone Island to see the storm completely cleared. In the distance, his close allies from the Jua Magic Academy arrived on flying vessels, waving at him with tears of joy. Lynn knew that while his battles were over, his new life as the eternal guardian of peace had just begun. With a peaceful smile, he took a step forward into a bright future, leaving an immortal legacy that would be remembered for all eternity.